video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and I don't know about you, but I am noticing sentiment is being destroyed at this moment in time. Across the board, a lot of people are out here really concerned that there are major tops in place for the likes of Bitcoin in the stock market. And I think that's really good because, as we know, the cycle lows serve to flush the sentiment and reset the sentiment before the next leg up. So it's really nice for me to see that we are flushing that sentiment out right in the expected window for a cycle low. Yesterday, I spoke about this and I said that I was a little bit concerned because I thought this was crowded. Everywhere I looked, all I could see is every man and his dog posting this. To give you a couple of examples, okay, in one way, shape or another, we could see that it's the same kind of thing, right? Just using an AV WAP here. The premise is the same, that we are going to make a low and then fire off. A low and fire off, just like on my fractal, where we make a low and then fire off. I'm seeing another variant of this same kind of thing, which is we're going to make one more low like Nvidia did here and then fire off and then fire off. And so yesterday, like I said, I was making the case that I'm a little bit concerned I might be with the herd on this trade. But pretty much all of you were quick to point out that I am probably existing in an echo chamber at the moment, and it's just my algorithm showing me the same things, because I was relieved to find out many of you are only seeing top callers or doom posting or bearishness out there. So with a little bit of luck, hopefully this trade is not actually as crowded as I was thinking it was. So we're going to find out soon enough. The cycle lows usually do cycle low things, and of course we are ever closer to that cycle low window in the early Jan timeframe. Like I said at the start, I'm quite liking the sentiment reset that we're seeing right now. We have gone from kind of elevated red back to a much more neutral level into that cycle low. If we could maybe get a touch of purple in the next 1 to 2 candles, that would be perfect for me, and then hopefully we can look for that big swing and that big reversal up to 150k-ish, and hopefully a little bit more than that. And speaking of sentiment being reset, we're also seeing the stock market edging towards extreme fear, and again, right in time for that early January timeframe cycle low. The cycle lows are doing cycle low things. It's nice to see that, and as you're going to see when we get to the charts, we're also in the making of a 2 drives pattern across the board, which of course is the easiest to identify pattern, and it also gives us the highest probability trade setup out of that 2 drives pattern. So far so good. Okay, early Jan shaping up to be a very nice time for the Camel Crew, and apparently it's not just the Camel Crew that are seeing the potential here for tradable lows early Jan, because we also have the Bitfinex whales starting to scale into their positions at these current levels. So slowly but surely, the Camel Crew and the whales are going to start to build these positions out of these cycle lows, and then it should be time for what I hope will be a nice rip-roaring rally to a blow-off top. Sailor is also out here continuing to buy Bitcoin, but the reason I want to bring this up today, I think we need to have a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation about what MicroStrategy is potentially signaling for the rest of the market. So far, this looks eerily similar to what I was suggesting was in play back when I sold my position in this kind of neighborhood. And for me, you know, I'm more than happy to walk away from this trade, even if this thing is to rip here to over $1,000, which I don't think is likely at all. But even if it does, I'm okay to sit out of this. That's not a problem. But for me, the big piece of interesting information that we can extract from MicroStrategy, and the reason I want to continue to cover it here, is because if this thing cannot make a new higher high above this 540 all-time high, what it's going to be doing is leading Bitcoin into its bear market. For those people that don't know, all you have to do is overlay a MicroStrategy chart and a Bitcoin chart, and you'll see that in the prior cycle, MicroStrategy led on the way up, it topped early, it diverged to a lower high, whilst Bitcoin made a higher high, and then it led on the way down. It also led the bottom when MicroStrategy put in a double bottom, diverging from Bitcoin putting in a lower low, and that was also a leading indicator that would let us know MicroStrategy has bottomed and was leading the bottom in Bitcoin. MicroStrategy then led the early stage breakout before leading the breakout from 73k, which was this final leg here. And then I believe it had already priced in much higher prices for Bitcoin and is now leading on the way down. And so the reason this is significant is there's no reason to doubt it until it stops working. So far, the Camel Crew has consistently used MicroStrategy as a leading indicator to let us know when tops and bottoms and breakouts are coming for Bitcoin. So unless this thing is about to break right now, then once again, I make the case that this has probably led the top for Bitcoin. And if that's true, then what comes next is a little bit more downside, let's say a pop up to, and here's the key part, a lower high, much lower than this high right here. And then what comes next is a true bear market for MicroStrategy, and I have long been making the case that if this is what we see, we will see Bitcoin continue to move up in a divergence pattern, and then Bitcoin's top will coincide with MicroStrategy leading once more to the downside. So of course, the most important piece of information that I think we can extract from this is there's long been a debate regarding whether or not Bitcoin is going to top in Q1, maybe Q2, or in Q3 of 2025 like it always has done historically. If MicroStrategy really did lead the top here, and if it is about to form a lower high, okay, then what do we know for sure? We know that the Q1 top gang for Bitcoin are correct. And again, we'll be able to look back at this and just say, this is what always happens. MicroStrategy always leads on the way up and it leads on the way down, as well as leading the breakouts and breakdowns both sides. So this, I think, whether you're a bull or a bear here, whether you have a position or not, whether you're part of the irresponsibly long MicroStrategy crew or any other crew for that matter, I think the thing that's really, really important here is to watch for a lower high in MicroStrategy. Because when I was saying this back here and back here and back here, a lot of people were very quick to be quite angry about that. And I remember pointing at that at the time and saying, look, that is exactly what I want to see. I don't want everyone to be jumping up and down and on my team when I sell something like this. I don't want everyone to be chomping at the bit to short this thing if I've sold as well. I want to be on the opposite side, and that is exactly what we've seen so far. I was getting a lot of hate, a lot of toxicity back in this neighborhood, and now we're down here. Okay, so again, it's business, it's not personal. That's what makes a market. We can all have different ideas and opinions. But one area that we are all on the same team of, okay, is everyone wants to try to identify where Bitcoin's top is going to be. Is it going to be Q1, Q2, Q3? And again, I think this is the easiest way to figure that out, because if this makes a lower high, then Bitcoin is likely to diverge to the upside into Q1 and put in a Q1 top. And again, both will be entering a bear market with Bitcoin following MicroStrategy's lead as it always does. And of course, the inverse is true. If what happens here is somehow this thing stages a reversal, starts to print higher highs and higher lows, and here's the most important part, a new all-time high above this prior high level from back here. If we get something like this, then it invalidates the Q1 top for Bitcoin. Okay, I don't see a world in which this would occur and Bitcoin tops Q1 and then continues down, right? That's not going to happen. So I still maintain this is one of the most important things that anybody in the Bitcoin and crypto space can look at, because once more, this thing makes a lower high and the Q1 top for Bitcoin is the most probabilistic outcome. This thing makes a higher high above here, and suddenly we can say, okay, this bull market probably has legs. We can probably start to target Q2 and Q3 for a major top in Bitcoin. So far though, all the way back here when I sold out of my position, I was making the case that we would probably do something like this, okay, get a counter trend bounce, and then a true technical breakdown at the hard right edge. And so far, it seems to be in play. It seems to be continuing to be the most probabilistic and most likely outcome. And if we look at this hyperwave schematic, we may well be in this phase 5 right now. That's pretty much where I think we are, which means, again, if this is going to continue to play out for MicroStrategy, we will get a counter trend bounce here, but note that it forms a lower high. And then, if this is what's observed, we will likely see that Bitcoin top, as I said, and most importantly for MicroStrategy and for me, is we then start to enter short positions on a trend line breakdown here. Okay, this is the area of maximum short opportunity with the highest probability short setup, and the target is all the way back at phase 1, which for MicroStrategy is $35. Now, if it can get all the way down there, coincide with a 4-year cycle low, and not go bankrupt, and not blow up, and not go to zero, then I think this will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to acquire something as volatile as MicroStrategy, something like 95% off of the highs. So I am salivating at the idea that we might actually be able to get down to $35. But in the meantime, there's a lot of work to do. Like I said, we've got to identify a lower high. Okay, if that's the case, we confirm the Q1 top for Bitcoin. Then we'll have to sell the Bitcoin, okay, in the Q1 area. And I'll have to get short here, targeting that $35 range. And most importantly, we'll have to find a place to cover the short and look to flip long, assuming the thing's not going to zero, down in the $35 neighborhood. So there's a lot of work to do. Okay, but once more, I think sitting here and saying things like irresponsibly long MicroStrategy and just buy every dip when the chart looks as broken as this, and particularly when I think the most probabilistic outcome is a lower high and die, I think really we've got bigger problems here, right? We've got bigger fish to fry, because this is the most likely outcome, and if so, then the Q1 top for Bitcoin is correct. And I would also suggest to you that if Bitcoin's going to top in Q1, isn't the stock market going to top sometime around there? Maybe it's already topped, right? If the Q1 top for Bitcoin is really on the table, then maybe what we do get is my yellow squiggle play out for the stock market. So very, very wild times to be alive, okay? And hopefully I can be wrong on this assessment. Hopefully we can get a much longer and extended rip-roaring bull market for many, many months to come. And hopefully this cycle low that is about to give us that undercut to the highest probability setup, and for me is going to be a tradable low. Hopefully this can bounce here and continue to rally for many, many months to come. As ever, we'll keep taking it one day at a time. We'll continue to be hyper aware of invalidation levels where the charts become technically damaged, and we will remain open to all possible outcomes. But so far, we've been patiently waiting for that second drive in the stocks, and it seems to be in the process of forming right now. Here's for the NASDAQ, okay, so second drive, swing low for the daily cycle low, and then we will look for a breakout, and hopefully this bull market's got legs, although it's still my base case that it does not have legs. And the same deal for the Dow Jones, right? Looking like we're getting a double bottom now, or perhaps even an undercut, and then it should be a tradable low for the Camel Crew. I'm going to post a level 3 members update in the next couple of days because there's a whole heap of minor positions in both gold and crypto stocks that I want to go over. I think there's a lot of really, really, really good opportunity sat in front of us. So if you're a level 3 member, stay tuned for that. For everyone else though, okay, we're in the process of finding the second drive, so happy days there. Gold still to me looks like it wants one final flush, although I am on guard for the breakout as always. And Bitcoin of course is setting up what I think is probably one final undercut, followed by a trendline break and a cycle low, and then I think it should be party time. So happy days across the board, the patience and the cycles doing what they always do, which is giving us an edge over the market, giving us an ability to navigate through the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt. They're also giving us an opportunity to recognize sentiment being reset right into the timing window for tradable lows. And in the meantime, eyes on MicroStrategy for the leading indicator. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you're doing well in life. Until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see, rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame, sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel Finance got the markets key, taking us normies on a bump.